Little Miss JonBenet Ramsey also having a mukbang. So today we have chicken and cheese, rice, and cheese and salsa, and a cheesecake chimichanga.
From our local Ellisville Mexican restaurant.
Okay, so we're gonna dive right in and say prayer.
All right, dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for another day of life, Lord. We thank you for all the many blessings you have bestowed upon us. We ask that you bless us food as we eat. And in Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Okay, so are y'all ready? Because this one is a doozy, so y'all better buckle up and get ready. So, JonBenet Ramsey was a six-year-old little girl that lived in Boulder, Colorado. To the parents are John and Patsy Ramsey. She had a 9-year-old brother named Burke. I'm going to start with a little backstory about her. Her father, John, he was a CEO of a computer business in the 80s, and then 88 he merged with another one, and it was quite a large company, meaning like it had its own personal jet. Well, the mom, Patsy Ramsey, he got me sidetracked. The mom, Patsy Ramsey, there's not much work history on her. There is more or less, she was Miss West Virginia in 1977. We didn't have one in the last one.
She didn't do none of them?
No.
Right.
Anyway, she was Miss West Virginia in 1977. She married John. They had the 2 kids, Burke and JonBenet. They shared a 15-room house.
Which is way too big.
Yeah, and that was not just a little home. Like, it was 7,200 square foot. Like, it was not any means by little. There was a complete basement. Like, when I mean complete basement, like the whole size of the house basement, like its own little apartment, is the way it was laid out. Then you had the first floor, which was like the kitchen, dining room, living room, garage, etc. Then you had the second, third floor, which was the children's, and then the main top, third floor, fourth floor, whatever you want to call it. Huh?
That was just a 2-story.
No. And the main top was just John and Patsy's room, but it was the whole size of the whole house. Like, it was huge. So, that being said, I'll get on into the actual case. Christmas Day, they had woke up, got dressed, had their own little Christmas morning. Patsy had this Christmas tradition to where she would get up, make pancakes, hash browns, and then they would open gifts. JonBenet had received a bicycle, actually, for Christmas, and then after that, they had went over to the White's house, which was a friend of the family friend, close. They did a lot of stuff together. So once they got over there, they celebrated Christmas with them, had Christmas dinner. On the way home, JonBenet had fell asleep. So as soon as they got home, I'm pretty sure it was John that had packed JonBenet up to her room and put her in bed. The other 3 had sat around just for the rest of the evening, hung out, and then they all eventually went to sleep. Coming December 26th, 1996. Patsy Ramsey had got up at roughly 5:30 in the morning to go downstairs to make coffee. She took the back staircase down to the kitchen. When she got to the bottom of that staircase, she found a 2.5-page ransom note saying pretty much they had a small foreign faction had kidnapped their daughter. They want $118,000 for the safety return of their daughter, JonBenet. They wanted $100,000 in 100s and the following $18,000 in 20s. They will call from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Well, 8 a.m., 10 a.m., 10 a.m. came around, no phone call had came. So, also, the first detective arrived on scene right before 6 a.m. That's when he completed his first search. But here's the thing. That first search, when he got down to the basement, there was a door in the back basement part to where John and Patsy called it their wine cellar. Once they got back there, he did not go in that room. He paused by the door.
Like a canning room.
But he paused by that door. He didn't even offer to go in. I don't know if something got his attention, sidetracked him, what it was.
It was all inside. So they had somebody on the inside done that.
So
I think they knew it was going on the whole time. They just acted like they didn't.
while after 10 a.m. came, there was no phone call. So what had happened was the cops that was on scene had left the home, went back to the station to regroup, start doing whatever cops do at that point in time. So they left a female detective on scene. She was not very, what's it called? Experienced. I'll use that word. She was not very experienced at the time that she was there. Her name was Linda Arnett. She had noticed John Ramsey, the father, he was doing peculiar things.
Peculiar. Something like that.
I was gonna say it. Anyway, they noticed that he was just doing random weird things, like he wasn't
Just acting odd.
Yeah.
Out of the
Like
ordinary.
he was opening his mail and reading it. I don't know, maybe if he was looking for something else left.
Is she still hot?
Don't know if they was looking for something else. Maybe the kidnappers had left. But so the detective Linda Arnett, she gave John a task. But here's something else. It wasn't just John. Turns out also when Patsy called 911 to report her daughter missing, they had also called the Whites, the house that they was there the night before having the Christmas dinner with. They had called the preacher. They had called numerous neighbors and friends and that was in that house. So they had messed up right then. So anything that was there,
Any evidence?
yeah, anything that was there that could have helped them was completely gone. It was wiped. They were also passing around the ransom note. Like it was not just on Patsy's fingers. Like it was being passed around. Also came to find out that it was written on Patsy Ramsey's, the mom's, notepad. And it wasn't the first one that was wrote. Actually, there was a practice note written on that notepad before the original one was left. Okay? Well, back to John acting weird and pacey and antsy. Linda had give him, the detective, had give John and his friend, I think his name was Fleet. But anyway, the Whites. John and Fleet White went out through the house. She told him to go look through the house, see if anything was out of place, anything was missing. And here's something else. First place he went was the basement. It wasn't 5 minutes after the detective had told him to search about the house.
Make sure it's not
Well,
empty.
they heard a blood-curdling scream and John Ramsey hollering, "My baby, my baby." The detective, Linda Arnett, she said right after that she had saw John running up the stairs carrying his baby girl. She instructed him to lay her down. He laid her down in the living room. She said, when he bent over, this is almost a quote, but it's not an exact quote. She said, when she looked up in his eyes, he asked her, is she dead? And she told him, yes, she is dead. There was a look in his eyes that she said that she could not just get out of her head. And what she called, well, I'm assuming it's her gun, what she called it her piece. She had, like, held it closer to her side because at that point, she didn't know if they were all going to make it out alive.
So you're basically coming out, now you're going to tell me the inside of your story.
So, she did not say, in the research I was doing, she never did come out and say that she knows that she didn't say that John done it, but she said at that point she knows who killed JonBenet. So, now that you see, we've talked about the case, we've talked about the back history, we'll talk about the autopsy. It turns out this little girl was strangled, and that was the main cause of death. She had major trauma from being struck over the head. Like, it was almost from, like, front of the head to the back of the head. Like, and it wasn't, like, it took quite a bit of force because it was all the way through her head. Like, thickness of her skull. Trying to think what else I can talk about that part. There was DNA that was found in her underwear, the waistband of her leggings. At one point they said that the DNA that was tested did not match anyone in the home. It was an unidentified male, but
which is more likely one of their friends.
Okay, well, the thing with that is, when I was doing my research, it said that DNA, and this is coming from another lab, that lab said it could be a mixture of more than one person's, up to 3 people's DNA. They said it was not how do I say this? They said that it could be mixed, and it wouldn't have been enough to indict the Ramseys.
That's not counting that Patsy Ramsey had all of her friends in the kitchen cleaning the whole time.
Yeah, like, they were cleaning, and they even put a blanket over JonBenet's body in the house when he had brought her up from the basement. Also in the autopsy, there was pineapple fragments in her little stomach. Well, the pineapple, John and Patsy both said that they do not remember giving her pineapple because they had just came straight home from the Whites and they had put her straight to bed. There was a bowl of pineapple and milk sitting on the table. The only fingerprints on that bowl and spoon was Patsy and Burke, the son. A lot of people thought maybe Burke and Patsy was sitting at the table. Little JonBenet came down the stairs, wanting a piece. She rushed and grabbed a piece, and she got clocked on the head by a flashlight, because the flashlight, where it comes in at, I meant to say that before, but where that comes in at is they had found a flashlight, like a big, heavy-duty, like, cop flashlight, and they said that it did not belong to them. They don't know where it came from.
So in other words, a mag light.
Yeah, like a heavy-duty one.
Oh, dang. I got it.
Now, during the investigation, past the autopsy, the grand jury did vote to indict John, but the DA said there wasn't enough evidence to follow through, so they didn't do that. Now, in the basement of the home where she was found, there was a window that was broken out. John said that he had locked himself out of the house a month or two prior to it, and he's the one that broke the window. Now, like, here's your window, and in this little corner, there was a cobweb, I'm thinking in the left side, and it had been untouched. But here's a cobweb, depending on the spider, it can web up a full web in an hour. Like, that doesn't prove that somebody came in, it doesn't prove somebody went out, it doesn't prove that there was an intruder in that home. There was a detective. His name is Lou Smith. He actually came out of retirement to help with the case in Boulder, Colorado. He got frustrated because they said there's no way an intruder could fit in that window because it was too small. At the time, he was a little over 60 years old. If you watch on YouTube, there is a plain video of him showing how he crawled in and out of that window.
Not to mention the guy's 6 foot tall.
At the bottom of the window, there was a black suitcase that had a Dr. Seuss book and a blanket, like a small little petty blanket. There was DNA and bodily fluids found on that blanket, and it was actually linked back to John's older son from a different marriage that tested on that. But he was ruled completely innocent. Like, he was out of town. There's no way that he could have done it. So that must have come from a completely different time that he was down there in that basement. Trying to think what else.
Chew it up with the twigs, huh?
There was...
I mean, what would make someone want to kill a little innocent girl like that?
Well, one of the detectives I was telling you about that came out of retirement, Lou Smith, he said that she was, and this is a quote, every pedophile's dream come true. That was his exact words. But like I was saying, there was 2 guys that was arrested for the murder. They actually both came forward and admitted to it, and they were actually both acquitted, and they did not have any proof that they done it. They were pretty much fame seekers.
Tell what your insight. Don't keep talking about the story.
I'll get to it. They're also the Ramseys right after. I know that the crime scene was their home. So as soon as like it was over, they had actually booked a flight back to Atlanta, Georgia, because that was where they were from. They said they had another home, but right after they had flew back home, they lawyered up straight away. They
knew what they were doing.
also, like, I understand leaving the home because you have just witnessed your daughter
Dead. You witnessed her dead in that house.
Yeah, because I can definitely understand that, but, and they wouldn't, and here's the thing that I understand. They lawyered up straight away, and they would not talk to the police separately.
No.
And they didn't
They didn't keep their story straight.
and they didn't let Bert talk to anyone for a long time. There's also a piece of evidence. One of the men that, I don't think he was arrested, but it was one of the men that was in question. I'm thinking he was at the White's house at the Christmas party playing Santa, and he told JonBenet after Christmas something special is going to happen to her. Now, in the home, in her bedroom, during the crime scene photos, there was a teddy bear. And Patsy had teddy bears sitting all throughout the house because she loved to decorate for Christmas. And this is where this new teddy bear is going to come in. But they decorated huge for Christmas. Like, they'd done everything for Christmas. And they even did tours of their home. Like, they would be letting people come through their home and looking at the lights and the decorations. And so they had numerous people in their home. Well, this is where the teddy bear comes in. During the police photographing the home, there was a teddy bear dressed in a Santa outfit. And Patsy said she doesn't know where that bear came from. She doesn't remember it. And it was in JonBenet's room. A few days later, that bear vanished. They don't know where that bear went. So, in my opinion, it's somebody that had access to their home, was in their home more than on the one occasion. I think that he was in the home when they got back from the Whites. I think he waited out because, like I said, technically that was a 4-story home. Like, you're not going to hear much in a 4-story home. One of the neighbors said around way up in the morning, they heard a little girl scream. Like, it was so bad, she woke up her husband and made them stay awake to hear anything else.
Change it now. It's getting boring.
Do you know?
It is made to meet everybody else. Tell your insight.
But anyway, I'm gonna wrap up real quick. Later in the investigation, they actually done a test screen, and the neighbors heard the test screen. John and Patsy and some detectives went upstairs to their bedroom. They did not hear anything at all. I have my opinions about who done it. I'm sure everybody does. This story, like I said, this happened in 1996. It's a very old case. It's over 20 years old. It's been on TV. It's been on YouTube. It's been on everything, numerous occasions. I don't know. You all let me know what you think. Let us know in the comments below. Tell us what you think, who you think done it, things that you thought were weird. Or also, like, if you all know anything or details that I didn't mention, let me know. Let me know what you think. What do you think? What do you think, done it? And all this is for entertainment purposes. Like, none of this is... All this information can come from Google, Bing, YouTube, whatever website, search engine information. We bought a DVD from ID Investigations, like the channel ID. Yeah. And we watched it. So, like I said, it's all for entertainment purposes. What do you think?
I think it was her daddy's best friend from work doing it.
Yeah, that is another thing. Like, they knew the exact amount in that, okay? That $118,000
What's his
was
bonus?
his bonus from that year from work. Like, it was somebody that knew the home. It was somebody that didn't take time to write a 2.5-page ransom note. It was,
They had a lot of time in their hands to write something like that.
yeah, they definitely did. Oh, and they also said that there was a footprint outside the window in the snow. But here's the thing. Their crime scene photos, there was no snow at all. Like, there was no snow. Like, yeah, it had snow, but there wasn't any in the crime scene photos to leave a clear print. And they also did use touch DNA on her. But, I mean, in 1996, there wasn't a lot. And then again, in 2008, it was tested. And then in 2008, the Ramseys were cleared of the murder using DNA.
Oh, geez.
But they're, before that could happen, in 2006, Patsy actually died of ovarian cancer. So she had passed away still thinking that she was never going to know that their names were never going to be cleared.
No, because she knew that she was on inside on that. She had someone on the inside on it, all in it. I had a friend do it just so he would get his bonus, and that never happened.
But
And she's like, well, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's just make a fake ransom. And
JonBenet was just like her mommy through and through. She was in beauty pageants. She loved to perform to be 6 years old. Like that, she loved it. But like I said, let us know down below what you all think, and leave some comments. Let us know what case you want to hear about next, because we will be back next week on what is today? Is it day Monday?
mm-hmm.
Okay, we will be back next Monday with another mukbang and another case for you guys. If we don't hear from many of you, or we don't have one solid case, it will be over Mammy Truman. She was actually requested from last week. So, with that being said, we'll see you next week.